Okay, YouTubers, space detectives, space geeks, space freaks, and pareidolia police. Today, we're looking at something that somebody else has found, very near something that I showed in my previous video. I'm going to get straight into it and not waste any time. Here is the Gigapan of the area. Now, this is the same Gigapan I showed in my previous video by Keith Laney. Very nice Gigapan, this. Curiosity Sol 1450. Okay, and this is made up of superior quality images to the usual Mastcam images we get, which are browse images. This is made up of, I think, PDS images, and this is why the quality and detail is so much greater. I'll demonstrate that in a minute. But the thing we're looking at today is this on this rock here. Now, this looks like a bird. In fact, I'll show you, I'll give some credit to the people that pointed it out to me, because after my previous video, which is this one here, they pointed out that on the rock, just above this albino looking alien thing that's peering out from behind this rock, just above this and to the right, they spotted this on the rock. Jamie McClurkin here has pointed it out, and also Todd Millard took a clip of it as well. And they thought it might have been a person or something looking down from the rock. Or blokes on the hill, I think Todd Millard's been here. I don't think it's a bloke. And when you see it up close, you may agree. Let me zoom right in. Now, this is as far in as it will zoom, but even from this distance, you can see this is shaped like a pigeon or bird or something similar, and even has a beak and an eye, which you can just about make out. Now, let me show you some clips I've got. I've got a color corrected clip here, which has been brightened up and color corrected, because this is more like the true color of Mars. It's not completely brown, as we're led to believe. Brown or red or whatever people say it is. It's not. This is what it looks like up close. Now, this is basic, had a very basic enhancement. Let me show you a raw clip actually before we go in really close. Let me show you a raw clip of that. There's the raw clip. Straight from the Gigapan. Nothing done to this at all. It's got that sort of reddish pinky colour. And if you zoom in, you can actually see there's a wing here, got a wing there, and a beak sticking out. And you can just about make out an eye where my cursor is there by going close. But you're not going to see a lot of detail because this is quite a long way from the rover. It's about 40 plus feet away from the rover. And the rover isn't focused on this particular area, which is why this looks fuzzy and a bit out of focus. That's basically the reason why. And if I show you the Gigapan again, let me zoom out. Let's go back to here. Now, I'll zoom out slowly and show you where to look on the Gigapan. Links will be below in the description for the Gigapan. This is a great Gigapan, one of my favourites, this one. There it is, there's the big rock that it's sat on. You go across here, you've got the background here. And another thing I didn't point out in that previous video is this very strange structure here. Extremely odd looking structure. Now, this is miles away on the mountain behind the area we're looking at. I would say, I mean, this ridge here is probably half a mile away. This mountain is miles and miles away. How far exactly, I don't know. I could work it out, but this is probably about 5 miles away, 4 or 5 miles away, this thing. But you've got this very strange, rectangular, squarish looking, massive structure, which almost looks like a kind of sphinx head or something, or some kind of structure. Who knows what that is? It's a bit blurred because obviously it's a long way off. You can see here, look at that. Look at that right angle. Very odd indeed. But just below that, we have the albino alien, which was spotted by Sarah Runcie. I covered this in my previous video. If you want to see more about this, I go back to my last video and it explains it in more detail. Here it is. Here's that head or face peering around a rock. Now, it's a completely different colour to the rock it's next to, so it's not attached to this rock, and it's probably nothing to do with it. It seems to be something peering around the rock and perhaps looking at the rover or something. And then if I zoom out, I'll give you an idea of how far away this is. It's quite a long way from the rover. I would say about 40 feet away, maybe 50, if I can zoom out, if it'll let me. There we are. So it's a big image to actually move around. Now the rover would have been down here somewhere, looking across up at this debris field here in front of this butte, so-called butte here, which goes right up, and right up here, right up here. So this is quite high. I would say this is about 50 feet high or something like that, maybe 40 or 50 feet. But we're looking into the distance here along the one end of the butte, and then we have the mountain in the background. So there we are, that's where you had to look. We have the bird here, just below this dot. Now this dot appears in every photo from the mast cam, so that's nothing to worry about. That is a fault on the actual lens. There's a bit of dirt. When the rover landed, it kicked up a lot of dirt in Gale Crater, and of course some of it stuck to the rover's glass protective screen that covers the mast camera, and it's been there ever since, and it shows up in every photo. So, but you go directly below that, and there's the bird, or what looks like a bird. Could it be a living creature? Not supposed to be anything living on Mars, is there? Although NASA have never actually denied this. NASA have never actually said there's nothing alive on Mars. They've just said they haven't found proof of microbes yet, or whatever. But I think they probably have, and they just don't think we're ready for it yet. And I think they're also gagged. So there it is. It's right there on top of the rock, and there might even be another smaller one next to it there. And it's just looking down towards the albino alien down here. There he is, he or she. So if you want to find out more about that, go back to my last video. So let's crack on with this. I'm going to keep this nice and short. I'm going to show you some more clips I've got here. Now, is it possible that there are birds on Mars? Well, yes, because I have found some. In this video I did a while ago called 4 Birds Found on Planet Mars, which I did late last year, I show remains of dead birds on the surface. This is the first one. I'll play this short clip through very briefly. There's one here. Unfortunately, this one's turned up the other way. This could be even the same type of bird as we're looking at today, which looks a bit like a pigeon or something, or a dove type creature with quite a short beak, a very clear eye. There's this other one. This is a bit further away. Now, Gale Crater was a lake, and I found what looked like evidence of wading birds like this. And now this is similar to an ibis with a long, slightly curved beak. Now, that's the sort of beak that would be used for picking out small shellfish, okay, perhaps in a lake, and small little creatures in the mud. This is some kind of hawk or eagle type skull here. This is quite large. I would say this is about 5 or 6 inches across, so it's quite large for a bird. So there were large birds of prey that were probably feeding on the smaller birds and wading birds down in the lake, okay? These probably lived up on the mountain and would swoop down and eat them, or at least perhaps eat their young, okay? And you can clearly see that that's a beak, even in the raw image. And you've got an eye here, it's not very clear, but in the heightened contrast image on the left here, you can actually see the eye quite clearly. It's all there. I'll show you a close-up of that in a minute. So there are plenty of examples of bird remains in the area, and here's another one. This isn't very clear. This looks more like a vulture skull with the curved beak on the end there. And there's this other strange creature here, which is not a bird. Don't know what it is, but you can see 2 eyes here and a nose, and so a little row of teeth. A lot of these things are quite vague because these are taken from the browse images. Now the browse images, I'll show you how bad they are, okay? Now there's absolutely no excuse for this, and I've been complaining about this for many years now. There's no excuse for NASA to downgrade the images this much. Here's a browse image of the same spot we're looking at today, okay? Now it all looks fine until you zoom in. And you'll find that when you go to that bird on the rock here, which is right near the centre of the image, it's just a blurry piece of crap. It's all pixelated and broken up. Now, what's happened here is the image has been downgraded quite severely, quite aggressively compressed. Now, the original image would have been clear and smooth and nice. It wouldn't have been any brighter than this. But what's happened here is that they've actually compressed the image down, and it's resized, or it's resampled the image at a much lower rate. And when you zoom in, you can actually see lots of distortion in here. Can you see all this distortion around the edges? So this actually kills all the detail in the image. Look how bad that is. Now you can improve that slightly by blurring the image slightly, but then you've lost even more detail. So, and that alien doesn't even show up here because it's been downgraded so heavily, this image. It's just like a blob just there, see that? So there's nothing to be gained from this. This is why I always say with these browse images, there's absolutely no point in zooming into the background. The only things you're going to see in any sort of clarity or detail are things right near the bottom of the image, usually, or much larger objects like this, which you can just about sort of work out, oh, that's a rock, okay, there's something interesting sticking up here, is that a rock? Probably. Most of these are rocks. But the image quality is so poor, it's hard to determine what you're looking at half the time, and easy to make mistakes and jump to conclusions when there's so much distortion in the image. And often the distortion can make things look like other things as well. That's another thing that does happen with a lot of people, including myself in the past. I'm a lot more careful now, and I always try and go for the much higher quality images and work with those, rather than saying it, than moaning about obfuscation constantly like I used to do, and a lot of other people too, quite rightly so. Rather than moaning about obfuscation and how bad the images are, don't use the bad images. There are quite a lot of good quality images, and this Gigapan is a fine example of that. Keith Lady's done some good Gigapans, but Neville Thompson's also done loads of good ones, and Neil Spence as well. Has done some nice ones as well recently, quite a lot as well, and between them they've done hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of them. I've done a lot, but mine aren't public yet. I need to find a way to upload them all onto here somehow. I've done about 300, I think, but they're not as good as this, most of them anyway. So there we are. We have the alien dude here, or person, peering from behind the rock, and we have the pigeon up here to the right. Just follow up to the right here, and there it is. Just follow the horizon up. There it is. Let me show you the folder very quickly before I go. I will put some of these other images in as well at the end for you to have a look at. There's that eagle, which I published last year. There's a close-up of it. What else could it be? You can see, even in the raw image here, even though that's a downgraded, aggressively compressed image, because it's big and not too far away, it can be seen in some detail. As I said before, this is the sort of beak you would use for picking up small creatures in the sand, around the edge of a lake or in the shallow waters. Or perhaps some little shrimp or something living in the lake. There's the smaller bird, which is upside down. That looks similar to the thing we're looking at today, more like a pigeon or a smaller bird. This is a picture I did. This isn't a photograph. This is a painting I did, part of, just to illustrate what some of these things look like. And for those of you who don't think there is life on Mars, or was life on Mars, we have this thing which is up near that thing I showed you in the background on the mountain. This is also miles away. But we have this big white dome. There's the raw black. This came from a black and white image. So I've used a colour filter on it. This is huge. This thing is over 300 feet tall. I would say 400, possibly 5. It's miles away from the rover, but it showed up quite large, and you can see structures to the edge of it here. So not only do we have buildings in the background on the mountain and ruins in the foreground, we also have remains of animals, but possible living creatures as well. Now, is it possible they can breathe carbon dioxide? Who knows? Maybe they would have to be. If this is a possible living creature, this thing, let me show you the close-up. Let's go nice and close. There we are. There's something here, but that may just be a part of the rock. And then we have a bird. And if you go in too close, it gets fuzzy, but you can see an eye there. You can see a beak sticking out. You can see the wings either side. You can even see the wing there. That shadow looks like a part of the wing. And the breast here. Now, I did pull up some pictures of pigeons and birds, but I can't find an exact match, but it's very, very similar. The shape, it's more like one of these actually, like a speckled pigeon in coloration. It's kind of brown, and it doesn't have the eye patch, but I'm not saying it's a pigeon. It's something shaped like a pigeon and about the size of a pigeon. Doesn't mean it's an actual pigeon. It may even just be a rock, but why would it stick up like that and have a beak? Why would a rock have a beak and an eye and what they're like wings? Why would it? So, answers on the postcard as usual, guys. Another Mars mystery to go with the albino alien down here on the left. We have what looks like a pigeon or some other type of similar creature on the rock, also looking at the rover. Okay? Absolutely incredible. So credit to Todd and Jamie for pointing this out. I'm not sure if they were the first to post this online, but they may well have been. So credit to them. If anyone else thinks they posted this on one of these sites first, then please let me know, and I'll put your name in the credits also, along with these. Okay, so that's cool. So we have two anomalies within meters of each other. We have the albino alien here. There we are. Here's the albino alien up close. I've got it in the folder here. Let's get in real close to that, just to prove that it's there and that it may well be what I think it is. Let's get in nice and close. There we are. You can see the mouth. This is raw. This is enhanced. You can see the mouth, nose, and eyes, and pale skin, even in the raw image. This is obviously slightly enhanced. This one on the right. You can see the nose and mouth quite a bit more clearly here, where I've changed the contrast and brightened it up. So there we are. Crazy stuff going on Mars, and I'm sure a lot of people say, oh no, there can't possibly be life on Mars. Well, why the hell not? NASA have never actually ruled it out and never said there wasn't. In fact, they've often said there may well have been life in the past and may well still be now. And this is not just people that used to be in NASA, this is people that right at the top. So where people get this idea that there was never life on Mars from, I really don't know. Who said that? Who actually said that? Was it your school teacher? Was it your lecturer at college? Who was it? We even have things like this on the surface. It's like a little monkey or something. A monkey's remains of a monkey head lying on the surface there. It's even got teeth, row of teeth. It's not very clear. This is another example of one of the rather poor quality mass cam images that's been compressed. But it's just enough detail there to see what it is. In fact, it looks better if you go back like this. So there are lots of these things. In fact, I've got hundreds and hundreds of similar things like this on my channel, both on Artanian TV and on my other spare channel, Space Detective 1. In fact, I just put a video up on there of what looks like an eagle skull as well, which I found years ago. It's not as clear as these. So there we are. Catch that pigeon. There it is. Let's go in nice and close. Here. Let's look at it in here again, because I think this probably get a bit more detail on this. But unfortunately, it's a bit out of focus because it's quite a long way away. It's a bit fuzzy. You can see an eye there and a beak, just there. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe. And if you can't leave a full comment, please leave an emoji or something in the comments. That will be classed as a comment. And the more comments I get on the video, the better it gets rated. And the better it does. My channel is being squashed slightly, I think, by the algorithm. So please share and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want notifications, press the notifications bell. If you subscribed a long time ago, you may want to re-press the notifications bell, because the algorithm's changed now, so you may have to redo it. Okay. So thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon.
mystery, and I don't like mysteries. Give me a bellyache, and I got a beauty right now.